Today is Saturday, November 2nd, 2019. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Stacy, and this is the listener feedback show for week 6 of season 39, Survivor Island of the Idols. On Wednesdays, we do the recap. On Saturdays, we turn it over to the super fans. This week, we've got 24 super fans who put some time and some thoughts and some extra effort into their feedback for this week's episode, and it's got a lot of people excited. There's a lot going on. I don't have any extra announcements. Let's dive right in. First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh my, that was an unbelievable, fantastic episode. I had no idea what was going to happen, so I'm going to let out a great big whoa! That was awesome, and I love that we finally got to see the purple team, Vokai, go to Tribal. First time since episode 2 when Molly was blindsided. This was awesome. It really was. I mean, first you had the comeback in the challenge. I thought the orange team was going to blow it again, but Dean redeemed himself a little bit, and Jamal was a beast in the challenge. And that was a great story, by the way, with Jamal and Jack. That was some good interaction there. And I loved the apology with Jack and then Jamal talking with him too. That was awesome. But the big thing, guys, how about Elaine? I honestly didn't think she was going to be able to pull that off by getting the vote steal, but she did. And then when she dropped it, I thought, no way, someone's going to catch her, and they didn't. And we finally saw her and Elizabeth talking about the Island of Idols. But how about Tribal? She not only plays the vote steal, but it works, as she stole it from Jason, and that nullified any rock tie or anyone drawing rocks. And I still thought the way the edit was going, that Aaron, maybe not Missy, but Aaron was going to stick to his guns and blindside Elaine, because he wanted to get rid of Elaine in episode 1 because of her being a social threat when Ronnie got voted out. But no, he completely fooled us, and I think even fooled Probst, and see you later, Jason. Wow. Man, but it was an awesome episode, and I felt bad for Jason. You could see Lauren was heartbroken. Dan and Tommy, none of them saw it coming, and maybe now the tide is going to turn on Vokai and maybe favor the orange team here. We'll see as the merge is getting closer, but I love it, guys. This has really and truly been an awesome season, even with the Island of Idols. I love it. Take care. Woo.
All right. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, they definitely had us on the edge of the seat. That's a theme we're going to hear over and over again in the feedback this week. What's Aaron going to do? How's this going to play out? Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Mary.
Hey guys, it's Mary from Michigan. Oh my gosh, I thought that was the best episode yet. I think you can't miss the overarching theme of redemption. So Jamal's redeemed by he's teaching the tribe to dance and drum and all those things, and we see that he's fitting back in and kind of the leader. And then we get the scene with Jack and Jamal. Jack makes a huge blunder, and we think, oh no. But then we get to see that Jack also is redeemed. And that conversation between Jack and Jamal was amazing. Tears in the eyes. And I think that, yes, Jamal looked fantastic by the way that he handled that. But I also remember that Jamal has said, I can forgive, but I can't forget. So that's there. But I know Jack, oh my gosh, like to be a kid and handle that situation so well, I think it was amazing. And yeah, Jack's my USB, so maybe I'm biased, but I really think the story was about Jack. I think that that is huge for both of them, and I think they're important this season. So we'll see. I think Dean was also a redemption story because we saw him not fall for Nora's craziness, and then we saw him make the winning basket. So what a difference, right? Because he lost it last time on the basket, and he wins it this time. Redeemed. Janet, I don't think we saw her much, but when we did, it was Jamal telling her that she was screwing up, being in the wrong place when they were picking up that cage at the immunity challenge. That was like really big to me that they pointed out that she was not in the right spot, and Jamal had to tell her, and then they end up winning. Aaron, huge episode for him. Now, I know he would have probably still flipped against Elaine if they hadn't had the block vote, but his decision not to flip was awesome. And I think that that's also super important in this story. Elaine getting that block of vote was amazing, super cool. And then when she dropped it, I almost died. But yeah, that was great. Now, I still don't think Elaine's our winner, but I think that was a super cool scene. Now, as far as Jason, what the heck? Why did they go with Jason? I don't understand that. I had him safe. Originally, I went through the picks, and I picked Dean to go. And then I got fooled by all the stuff I heard saying that there is no way that new Vokai is going to Tribal, and I switched. So I switched from Elaine to Dean. It doesn't matter. Elaine didn't go. I would have never picked Jason to go, but so I lost a safe point and the vote out point. Not doing great in JSFL, but loving the season. I think that Aaron's one to watch. I think that Jack and Jamal are important. I think this is going to be amazing. If I was the new Vokai, the old Lyra members, so Elaine, Elizabeth, Aaron, and Missy, I would throw the next immunity challenge, go to Tribal and get rid of another Vokai. I would totally go after Tommy, but we'll see what happens. Never works out the way it should, right? I hope you guys have a great week. I cannot wait to hear what everybody else has to say because I need the feedback for my JSFL and can't wait to talk soon. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Good job. Yeah. It's got to be tempting to think about that, even though that's so fraught with peril, throwing a challenge so that you can gain the upper hand or at least even the odds headed into a merge. That temptation must be huge for them as the game played out at this point. And you can see why there's so much fear in Dan and Lauren and Tommy. Thanks again. Next up, we got an email from Jesse in Canada. What an absolute nail-biter. First, I have a lot of respect for Elaine for coming out to Survivor after losing her mom. Last year, I lost my mom and stopped submitting to the podcast because I was a wreck. It really gives me a whole new respect for her and shows me just how strong she really is. Yeah, definitely. I also gained respect for Jamal this episode because he handled the Jack comment well. As a minority, I understand just how much little digs like that can get to you, even if it was a joke. The way Jamal explained the spectrum of classification really showed me just how intelligent and mature he was. Personally, I would have cut Jack's hair off when he was sleeping. Oh, man. Now for the really juicy part. Elaine getting that advantage was critical for her game. Missy and Aaron don't deserve her. They were willing to completely throw her under the bus and take a bottom spot just because they were scared of rocks. Elaine really came through for her tribe. I was so scared of Aaron after he found out about the advantage and still wanted to betray her. What a Judas, or so I thought. I don't feel bad for Lauren, Dan, Tommy, or Jason during Tribal. They were all saying they were stronger because they would go to rocks. They also were all going to vote for Elaine anyway. If Elaine didn't do what she did, it would have been her going home. In my eyes, she just defended herself with gusto. When they said they were all comfortable going to rocks, I wish Elaine would have said, well, you know what beats rock? Paper. Get it? Like rock, paper, scissors. Paper beats rock. I'll just pretend that's what she said. I still assumed Aaron was going to betray Elaine, so I was screaming, "You idiot!" at the screen the whole Tribal. Then against all editing odds, Aaron did the right thing. But I think the only reason he went along with Elaine was because she was expressing a fierce amount of dominance in that Tribal, and that's the only thing a meathead like Aaron understands. Great play, Elaine. Still don't trust Aaron. P.S. They should have called this episode Paper Beats Rock. I think you're right. That would have been great. Thank you for all you do. Can't wait to hear the other listeners' feedback. Thank you, Jesse. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, everyone. everyone, this is Christiana from Boston. This was such a good episode. I was on the edge of my seat during Tribal Council, but I'm going to get to that in a second. I first just want to quickly talk about the conversations between Jack and Jamal on the Lyro Beach. I just thought it was really impactful, and part of the beauty of Survivor is bringing folks together from different walks of life and having them learn from each other and utilize each other to survive. I was impressed, and I appreciated that the producers kind of filmed that, edited it, showed it, made it a storyline of the episode, because I think it's something that, especially in the society that we live in, talking about privilege and analyzing one's own situation in life and increasing self-awareness is really critical to societal progress, in my opinion. And so it was cool that even came into Survivor this week. When Sandra said that she was impressed with Elaine and that Elaine might win, I was pretty confident that was Elaine's kiss of death for the week, and it really almost was. I was not confident that Aaron was going to stay with his former Lyro tribe mates and vote against the Vokai. I just didn't really understand what his obsession was with going with them, because I understand not wanting to be on the bottom, especially when you go into a merge, like they're going to be down in numbers, but ultimately they're not going to make you their number one. Like, you're not going to be Tommy's number one, Aaron. Right. And so cool, then you can just get picked off in whatever 10th place as opposed to being in danger somewhere else along the lines. I don't know, I just didn't see the rationale. I feel like you have to stay strong in your position and fight, and not just be willing to side with the majority. That's such an easy option. And so I'm glad that he ultimately didn't do that, and he just the block the vote, everything. It was so great. It didn't dawn on me for Elaine to read it and tell them in advance. I thought that was really smart that she did that, because they don't know. The Vokais don't know what's going on, versus just having them vote. The votes are already voted, and then she says she can block a vote, but at that point it might not have mattered. But yeah, so I thought that was great. It annoyed me that they were like so distraught and upset. The only reason you're upset is because this is the first time you've ever been down or not on the favorable end of the game in the entire season up to that point. And that just annoys me. It's like, these people have been playing from the bottom since day one. They got an advantage. They played it against you correctly. Get over it. That's kind of how I see it. But I have just a really uncanny ability to mark people safe who then unexpectedly go home. I've only gotten all 4 safe points, I think, 2 times this season so far. So yeah, I had Jason safe, and now Jason's gone, but I'm not that distraught about it. It was a great episode. Looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Bye.
All right. Good job. Thanks, Christiana. Enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Kyle.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey, and all the Survivor fans at home. This is Kyle from Calgary, Canada, calling with some feedback for this week's episode of Survivor Island of the Idols. Now, we're back from Costa Rica. We had a fantastic time. It's a lovely place to visit. The girls managed the silver in their cheerleading division, so that was really great. Now, this week's episode was fantastic. We had a really fun time watching it. Well, it kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. It was really enjoyable. And everything just kind of worked out really well, which is so rare these times, it seems. But I love seeing Elaine at the Island of the Idols. Now, is she a Boston Rob fan? Is that why she wears the Boston Red Sox hat? Or is she actually a fan of the Boston Red Sox? I kind of feel like it's the former, because she actually knew when she saw him who he was, rather than the latter, because again, I don't know if anyone from Kentucky would really love a Boston team, but that's a whole other different story. So I like seeing her. Again, these contestants are hungry. They really want any sort of challenge that they can get, and I'm not sure if I'd play it that way, but it is what it is. I was really excited to see her go through the challenge that she did. She was able to get she almost didn't get the advantage, but she was able to pull it off, which was really fun. When they lost, the ramp up to Tribal was fantastic. People were scrambling, and there was some real big drama in terms of if Aaron was going to switch, and that whole point leading up to it. It was great. And then at Tribal, man, oh man, was it so much fun to see the original purple team just crumble when Elaine brought out that advantage. And they went from being so powerful in the game and high and mighty and having the numbers to absolutely scrambling. And they were just so worried and crying and everything. Like, give me a break. I have no time for that. That kind of behavior on what accounts to like a game show, because all of a sudden you might lose your place, was just ridiculous. Do you think any of the previous Orange team was acting like that? Not at all. And then, I guess, they knew what was about to happen. For instance, Lauren, during the ramp up to Tribal, going on national TV, exclaiming that she didn't think that Elaine was smart enough to pull anything off. Give me a break. That and then having that turned on her, that was just perfect TV. I'm glad to see it happen, and I'm glad that, well, I'm not really glad that Jason went home, but I'm glad that got broken up, because I think that this is going to be a brand new dynamic for the game going forward, because if this tribe keeps on losing, they can just ping off these old Purple Tribe members, and we sort of have stopped the pagonging. So fantastic. I was so happy to see that happen. Kudos to them. Also, I think it should be said that I don't think Jeff Probst has a grasp on reality anymore. I don't know about you, but I don't sit down with a plate of baked goods and start watching Survivor, especially donuts. That was a really weird thing, and I thought for sure that he was about to jump into another embedded commercial for a donut chain. Coming from Canada, it'd probably be a Tim Hortons, maybe Dunkin' Donuts. Who knows? Who knows who's paying Jeff Probst to start talking about donuts anymore? Okay, that's it for me. Everyone have a great weekend. Join and Stacey, thanks for all you do, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, bye!
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Great to hear they did so good down there in Costa Rica. Definitely enjoyed my trips down there. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. I missed the deadline of last week, but I'm back and ready to give my feedback for this most recent episode. My vote out points are just going down the drain, and I'm not sure why or how that's happening, because I feel like I've done really well with them these past few seasons. Last week I had Karishma going, and I think I had Tom safe. This most recent episode I had Aaron as the vote off and Jason safe. What's going on? You're in the side challenge, bud. It's getting to you. It's in your head. One of the things that I'm confused about this whole Jamal and do-rag conversation, I know they explored that a little bit in this episode, but I'm still unclear as to how saying that was a bad thing. I'm glad that Jamal and Jack were able to talk it through, though. On the island of the idols, Rob's double shelter building was quite impressive to see. I would try to get that block vote advantage, and I think Elaine and Elizabeth worked well to accomplish that. That cage at the immunity challenge not only looked awkward to move, but having to shoot the balls from inside the cage would also probably be challenging. You must have had to have great strength to make it over the cage and into the corresponding targets. Yeah, you bet, Jack. I'll talk a little bit more about what the significance of using that particular word was when I do the wrap-up at the end. It's going to come up a few more times, and some other folks address it too. But just in case, I'll circle back to it then. Thanks, Jack. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Hello, all my Survivor family. It's Nicola from Lexington. And if you hear the rain, it's because I'm sitting in my car. I just got to work and I got a few minutes. And I wanted to make sure I get feedback in this week and don't leave it till it's too late. So here we are, Thursday morning. I've only watched the episode once. Usually I try to watch it twice. So if I'm scattered, forgive me. But I love the episode. So relieved that Elaine did not go home. Once again, I did not get a vote off point. I think I can't even remember who I had, but I had somebody on the other tribe going. I liked Island of the Idols. I'm glad they moved along. Seems like they're moving along pretty quickly. So I didn't really feel like we missed out on too much. Last night we got a bit of camp life at both tribes, and then we had Island of the Idols, and we had two challenges. I liked it. I liked the fact that Elaine had to do that at the challenge. It was pretty cool. I was wondering where they sat Lauren, because to us, while they were showing her trying to get the advantage and then dropping it and looking for it and picking it up again, seemed like it took a little bit, and it seemed like it was obvious that she was separated kind of from the group. So I was kind of wondering where Lauren was sitting, that she did not see any of that as she was sitting out the challenge. The other thing I just wanted to touch on was the Jack and Jamal thing. I had absolutely no idea that was the connotation around do-rag. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm from England and I spent up until my adult life in England in a totally different culture. Actually, I had never even really heard the term do-rag until I came to America. But still, I've been here 30 years and I did not have any clue that it was a negative connotation to that section of our society. I thought it was well handled by the show. I thought it was well explained, and it was very interesting to kind of watch that go down. there's my 2 cents on that. Also, I lost my mother in 2015. I don't really think it's anything that you get over. It's just something that you learn to live with. And I don't think we even really realize the impact that it has on our lives until it happens to us, even when we are grown, aged people ourselves. I look forward to hearing everybody else's feedback. Here's hoping I get a vote off point next week. Jackson will probably get caught up this weekend, so we might put a little something on the Facebook group. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope you're having fun on your trip, Joanne, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, guys. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Nicola. Thank you. Good job. Like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about that, at least the way I understand it at the end. And for Lauren or anyone who sits out, they tend to sit them towards the end of the challenge so that they have a good view of the drama that happens there. So, and that was actually a pretty big course, so she was a fair bit away from that first stage where Elaine had to actually get the block of vote advantage from under the table there. Plus there's the cage itself, and then all the other tribe members around her blocking her from they would have been given the corner where the advantage was. They would have been in between Elaine and Lauren from that perspective, her ability to view or see what was going on. Maybe she could have noticed when Elaine was ducking down to pick something up at the end, but again, you got all those obstacles in the way of being able to see that. Good job, Nicola. We look forward to hearing Jackson again soon, too. Next up, we got an email from Barbara in Long Island. Hi, Stacy. I miss Joanne, and you're doing a great job on your own. Well, thank you, and I do, too. This was an excellent episode of Survivor. Like you, I had Elaine going home, and until the last vote was read by Probst, I thought it might happen. I cheered when it didn't. I even thought that the reason Aaron didn't fist bump Jason at Tribal was because he didn't want Elaine to know she was going. By the way, am I the only person who thinks Aaron has George Clooney eyes? Okay, I guess I could kind of see that. I'm glancing up at the roster right now, and I could see why you might say that. And Lauren, she thought Elaine was too stupid to play an idol right, and then sat there in tears as the truth set in. I love when arrogance meets humble pie. I'm talking to you too, Tommy. During an exit interview, Jason said Vokai were voting for Aaron or Missy and only changed it when the vote blocker was revealed, hoping that Aaron and Missy would keep their earlier promise to vote out Elaine. So whatever guilt trip Tommy and Lauren lay on them back at camp next time will be just an act. Sneaky, sneaky. I hope the next person to go to the Island of the Idols is challenged to give Probst a wedgie at Tribal. Oh, just kidding. That took a turn. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Barbara. All right, you cracked me up right there at the end. Next up, we got a call from Noelle-n-Immie.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Noelle
and Immie
calling from Albuquerque.
I had to get medevaced from school, guys, because I cut my thumb open with a can.
Oh, no.
Goodness.
So tonight's episode, we started out with both tribes speculating about who they might vote out. On the one tribe, it was coming down to maybe Dean or maybe Nora. On the other tribe, it seemed like it was coming down to Elaine. Not sure who else, maybe Aaron. Then they go to reward challenge. The reward is chickens. How do you feel about the chickens?
Boo!
Yeah, Amy doesn't like when they kill the chickens. And Elaine goes off to Island of the Idol. And Rob and Sandra start to give her test, but she jumps in right away. I'll do it. What would you have done, Immie?
I would have waited for him to finish, and then I would have cut him off. I'd be like, nope, no.
No, even though they were even numbers?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that she went for it. Mm-hmm. Elaine really charmed Sandra, didn't she? I was impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it is to charm Sandra, so that was impressive.
Yeah.
Back at camp, Jack makes a do-rag comment that rubs Jamal the wrong way, and if anybody's going to explain why that's offensive, I'm glad it's Jamal, because he is very articulate.
Right.
Then Elaine comes back to her camp, and she and Elizabeth chat. That was exciting. They hatched a plan. Elizabeth was going to run cover for Elaine to be able to get her advantage during the challenge.
I feel like it's weird that usually the person who visits Rob and Sandra is on the team that goes to tribal council. That's just, like, weird to me. That seems to happen a lot.
True, especially when it's Lyro, right?
Right.
That immunity challenge was very stressful. I was so worried that Elaine was going to get caught or something bad was going to happen. I'm so relieved that she ended up with the advantage.
I know. I was on the edge of my seat, and I literally almost fell off.
And Rob was like, it's going to be really hard. And I'm like, Rob, she already said she was going to do it, and now you're making it sound like she shouldn't. And then Aaron is so athletic, I thought they better get rid of him before they merge. He's a shoo-in to win all the individual immunities. And Dean came back from last week and won it for them with the same type of challenge, the shooting the baskets. I was happy for him. Then we get back to camp, and Lauren is saying that Elaine's not smart enough to outmaneuver them. So how did that work out for her?
Nope, not very good at all.
Definitely not. Well, I hope that everybody is staying safe with all those wildfires in California. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. Thank you so much for the podcast. Immie, what do you think is going to happen next week?
I want the 3 J's to make an alliance on the new Lyro.
Janet, Jamal, and Jack?
Yes.
All right, we'll see. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, Noelle. Thanks, Immie. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Seattle survivor Randy. Hi, Stacy. What a great episode and season. I'm really enjoying the unpredictability and blindsides, even if it means I miss every vote-off point. And worse, send my safe point home. Guess I just need to suck it up, Buttercup, because you can't win every time. I was so pumped last week when my prediction came true and Orange lost and Tom went home. 5 points in my first vote-off. While I gave all that back this week with Jason being my safe pick and Missy my vote-off. Ugh, 3 points. My only consolation and silver lining, Stacy may have been in my boat too. No, sir. No, I wasn't. I got all my safe points. Matter of fact, I got primo safe points. I got safe points on Dean and Karishma and Nura. Oh, yeah. We were nowhere in the same territory. Sorry to hear you're having such tough luck in the side challenge, bud. I'm happy to see that Vokai was targeting Aaron and Missy, as this was my read on their gameplay. But alas, Props Island of the Idols made this episode rock. Woohoo! Next week, I have no idea, but I have Orange losing and Dean going home. There's reason to believe that could happen for sure. I'm sure this will change a few times since this season is not easy for me to predict. Love this game, and I'm wishing Parker the best of luck. Oh, no luck my way, Randy? Best wishes to Joanne and all. Thanks, Randy. Good job, bud. Next up, we got a call from John and Ann.
Hi, this is John, and I'm watching Survival with my mom.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I like watching Survival with her. It's pretty fun.
Great.
Yeah.
This is Ann. I like watching it with him, too. It's nice to have somebody to watch it with.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend, survivors. People.
Bye. Hi, this is Ann again. John was on the way out the door to Lego robotics class, so he had to run, but he wanted to say hi to everybody. I just wanted to say I'm so glad that Elaine did not get voted out this week. I was very, very worried since she's my USB, and also I just think she's really funny and genuine. I also just wanted to say on a personal note, I've been going through some mobility issues. I had a really, really bad sprain of my foot and my ankle, and so it's been 3 months. I'm just now off crutches and just starting physical therapy and getting a lot better. But I had to develop a lot of patience that does not come natural to me, and it was just really nice to have the podcast to listen to, and I love hearing everybody's voice. So keep up the good work. Thanks again, Joanna, Stacy. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Ann. I hope you continue to get better and better and tell Johnny did a really good job. We say hi, too. Next up, we got an email from Nathan in Portsmouth, Virginia. Hello, Survivor fans. It was another good episode with too many things that caught my attention. The first thing that grabbed my attention is what Stacy also noticed. There was a big discrepancy in how Elaine's decision to immediately accept Rob's challenge was presented compared to Nura's decision. Now, we do have to note that Elaine was placed on a short timeline, but she had time to hear more before she had to say yes or no. I guess it goes to show how similar decisions can be viewed vastly differently based on how you act previous to the decision and how other people perceive you. Nora is seen as weird or crazy, so her decision was viewed as crazy, while Elaine is viewed as fun-loving and there to play, so her decision was viewed as someone enjoying the moment and simply wanting to play Survivor. Well, that's a pretty good summary. Good job. Next, we have to talk about Aaron's decision to be so willing to jump from one side to the other. If we sat to the side trying to decide what would have been his best option, I think we can say that he too quickly pledged his loyalty to the other side. Perhaps he tried to weigh all options and it wasn't shown in the edit, but why would he have not tried all angles to see what would have been his best option? If and only if at that point he felt it was his best choice, he could have decided to switch. I don't think switching would have been his best option. I think Dalton Ross said it best in his recap when he said Lyro was playing to not get voted out while Vokai was playing to win. Now he has alienated himself from 3 tribe mates and potential jurors, and I think this is going to hurt him in the long run. They would have respected him more if he had weighed options and then decided to stay with his original tribe. That would have been understandable and would not have been seen as a betrayal. Overall, I think this is turning out to be a solid season, but not a spectacular season. As of this moment, I can't think of anyone I'd really want to see on a returning Heroes vs. Villains or All-Star season. No one jumps out to me one way or the other. It's not bad, it's not great, it's just average. I look forward to hearing everyone's take on Aaron's decision, as well as the difference between Elaine's quick decision and Nora's quick decision. All right, thanks, Nathan. Good job there. I like how you wrapped some of that up in your analysis. Yeah, I guess I hadn't given a whole lot of thought to what the repercussions may be to Aaron, but it does seem likely that Dan and Lauren and Tommy would very likely end up sharing that about Aaron being so willing to flip, maybe even including Missy in that, since Aaron had mentioned that he had her too. Yeah, that could be a bumpy ride. Some tough discussions with Elaine and Elizabeth coming forward, huh? Good deal. Thanks again, Nathan. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, or I guess just Stacy this week. And hey, everyone, this is Drew from Utah. I'm out and about with a family, but I know if I don't call in, I'm going to forget by the time I get home. It's going to be too late. So, yeah, this was actually a good episode for me, too. The Jason business was actually really interesting and fun to watch go down, especially at Tribal Council. I think Elaine is showing a lot of gameplay, especially satisfying when Lauren and people are just kind of discounting her as someone who can actually play. Yeah, the challenge is fun, great episode. I just did kind of want to weigh in on the Jamal and Jack business, because I guess that I'll just say it as briefly as I can. I feel like Jamal took offense when none was intended. I just didn't really appreciate the lecture about privilege that he gave Jack. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, I just don't think Jack meant anything by it, and I guess I don't understand the connotation. I mean, I guess I don't really get that is an automatic connotation. But anyway, I will be interested to hear what some of the other listeners have to say about that particular incident, because it seemed to me like it was blown out of proportion and Jamal made it more of an issue than it needed to be. And I know I said that's all I'm going to say about that, and then I said some more. But that really is all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, don't get me started on privilege. Okay, yeah, winner of the week, I'm going to give it to Elaine because she just really threw everyone for a loop. And the loser of the week, I'm going to give, of course, to Jason, because that, gosh, talk about a sore loser. Woo! But I don't know what's going to happen to Aaron now. It'll be interesting. So, great episode. Great recap, Stacy flying solo, and can't wait to get some other insight from the rest of the listeners. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Bye.
All right. Thanks for making time and getting that in, Drew. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Cameron in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and all Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina, having to write in email from this week because I'm currently on a little fall trip in Philadelphia, enjoying time with a friend who goes to school here and another who flew all the way from Michigan. Nice. Maybe this is a popular opinion, but maybe not. I 100% would have had the same reaction as Elizabeth when she saw the spider. I freeze up at the sight of the smallest one. We are now seeing a repeating trend of Boston Rob on the Island of the Idols, in that he will critique whatever choice you make regarding his challenge, no matter what. At this point, it's just a recurring motif. I feel bad for Jack. He seemed like such a nice guy, and the first real characterization we see of him this season sort of makes him out to be insensitive. I agree with Jamal, and what Jack said was a little inappropriate, but I'm at least glad they were able to work through it and talk it over. It's best to work through differences and in the end actually be able to learn from one another than let anger stew and hurt your image. Elaine was definitely very smart to share with her former tribe mates what she had just earned from the Island of the Idols. Had she not chosen to keep it a secret, then of course likewise Missy and Aaron would have just turned and taken her out. Actually, it wouldn't have gone that way according to the interview, but we'll get to that. Dean is finally making Columbia proud, showing a big comeback and honestly kind of surprising win. As confident as Tommy, Dan, and Lauren and Jason were going into the tribal council, they actually should have had a plan B and not have been so willing to go to rocks. Who knows, maybe that was just theatrics and they were confident all along that Aaron would join forces with former Vokai. Respect for Aaron for staying true to former Lyro, but honestly, I might have enjoyed the drama even more had he flipped on Elaine. Can former Vokai really be that angry at him for not flipping on his former tribe, though? Suck it up, Buttercup, indeed. I'm sad to see Jason go. The way they were setting him up early on made him seem like Rob Sesternino mixed with Jonathan Penner, and I was really excited to see how his game would play out. I mean, none of us viewers would be shedding tears had you just gone with Handsy Dan, Lyro. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Next time on Survivor, I gotta say the drama's really heating up now. I think I'm more excited for the next episode than I have been for any yet. Joanna, Stacey, thank you for everything you do. I greatly appreciate it, and have a great week. Well, I hope you have a fantastic trip with your friends there, Cameron. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and you know what, guys? I'm mad. I am mad, and I was right. Jason goes home. I like Jason. Jason was cool. Jason was a good player. Now, I like Elaine. I like Elaine better than I like Jason, but neither of them should have gone. I'm telling you guys, I am telling you, this is just like Ghost Island. I feel like I'm the only one who's thinking this. Yeah, this season's been fun so far, and it's been a good ride, a good season. But at a certain point, it's gonna be like, oh, we know exactly what's gonna happen. This person's gonna win. It was an interesting episode. This might have been the most entertaining one this season. Had some good moments. It was a really fun episode. I liked this episode. The pre-tribal action going on with the block of vote that Elaine got, that was all really cool. And you're like, what is Aaron gonna do? I also like this villainous Aaron. I think that's where he's going, and I'm enjoying it. That tribal, man. Lauren, what? This is not something to cry over. Like, if you get voted off, sure, you can cry. That moment between Jamal and Jack, that was Survivor. That's what it's about. People from different walks of life coming together and playing this game, right? And we saw that. Two people from different walks of life, and that was an important scene. The person I can call my best friend is black, and I obviously am white. So this got to me. Next week on Survivor, Lauren's crying again, so that's fun. I don't understand what's the big deal here. Calm down. You're still in the game. You build back up, and you're like, I feel so betrayed. It's not that deep, bro. I'm really excited about this Aaron and Tommy alliance, and well, I guess that's done. I don't want Tommy to go, and I don't want Jason to go. This is so much to ask that the person I want to go can go for once this season. I assumed Karishma and Nora weren't gonna go home, so I put them as safe. I put Tommy as safe and Aaron as safe. That was kind of close. Well, I don't think either of them were really in trouble, but then my vote off was Dean. Gonna dress as Boston Rob for Halloween, yeah. But not like Boston Rob. Boston Rob, I'm gonna dress up as the statue of Boston Rob, so I'm gonna look nothing like Boston Rob, and I'm gonna wear a tie-dye tank top. Gonna be really cool, guys. Really cool. This is obviously a joke. I'm not doing that. That's all I got. I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker. Yeah, it's interesting to see Dan, Lauren, and Tommy have a moment like Elaine and Vince did on day 3. So it's a great contrast in the testing and that emotional roller coaster, and to be that close to the dream. At this point, they were 1 in 15 from $1 million there, and to have it come that close to being snatched away from you, your dream of being able to be on the show that you love and all that. Yeah, that's, if you recall back in that first episode, Elaine and Vince, they ended up sort of having the same kind of reaction there. But Vokai was fortunate they got to have theirs much later in the overall season. They really hadn't been tested until now. Thanks again, Parker. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Wow, what an episode, and what a phenomenal edit. We got the reward, we got the Island of the Idols, we got Elaine trying to find the advantage and dropping it. We got a lesson on straight white male privilege, a victory that we never saw coming. Yay, Jamal. And a crazy session of strategizing before the tribal council. Really, really well done. So I just have some observations I'm going to throw out. The Jamal and Jack discussion. I thought that both men handled this so well. I felt that they were both sincere. I think it wasn't just because of the game. I think it was maybe even in spite of the game that Jack learned a valuable lesson, and Jamal was emotional in saying that he would remember this apology forever. I think it was very important for both of them. I think that when you saw Jamal and Kelly dancing back at the camp, I noticed that Karishma was sitting beside herself, and once again, she separated herself from the group, and I just felt that she's her own worst enemy in this game. To the choosing rocks or not, of the team that has the least members left in the game, I can understand them saying, okay, we'll take a chance. And the team with the largest number, why would you? I was really surprised at how quickly everybody was throwing Elaine's name out there. I think every one of her original tribe members threw it out. And I see Elaine as feeling that she saved her tribe. I think she saved herself. I really just was surprised at how quick they were ready to cut her loose and let her go. I also feel that Aaron is playing this game much too strong, and I think it's going to be his downfall. How he treated Jason was one thing, but lying directly to Tommy is another. I just think he mishandled that, really. And as far as Jason is concerned, I like the way he said, don't trust Aaron. He's letting everybody know exactly who's the one that's masterminding a lot of this in the background. And so I thought that was important. In his exit interview, he was emotional, and he talked about how he was proud of the game he played and that his original tribe mates didn't turn on him. And as he said, he left the game with a sense of love, and he hadn't expected that at all. So I thought that was a fitting end for his game. I just thought it was an excellent episode. Loved this season. Never thought I was going to enjoy it as much as I am. And Joanne, we miss you. Talk to you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.
I heard that well of emotion there, David. I miss her too. Next up, we got an email from Hayden in Kansas. Dear Joanne and Stacy, oh my gosh, what an episode that was. Good challenges, Rob and Sandra, an emotional moment, exciting tribal council, and more made this the best episode of the season so far. Nothing really stuck out to me at the beginning of the episode as amazing or shocking because it was just what the previous episode had shown. A sad Dean, Nura doing Nura things, and more talk about rocks. Then the reward challenge happened, and the twist they pulled with Elaine was really well executed. I didn't see that happening, and the Jeff and Elaine exchange afterwards was really funny. This week's Island of the Idols was also the best of the season, which probably made me like the episode so much. Elaine's jumpy response added to the oh crap moment for the reveal of the reward and punishment for the advantage. Next was the exchange between Jack and Jamal, and Jack's comment was really disheartening. Having him as my USB, it was sad to know that I picked this person as my USB. However, Jack and Jamal still made up, and the way Jamal acted afterwards during the apology and confessional make me wish he was my USB. Jamal's quickly turning into my favorite survivor for the season. The immunity challenge was next, and I really enjoyed the challenge and the intense moment with Elaine quickly having to hide the advantage. When it suddenly popped back out, it really scared me, but thankfully she was able to get it. And to make the challenge better or worse, if you were like me and put your safe votes on Vokai, Lyra won. Does this show that Karishma wasn't the problem on the tribe? I don't think so, but I just found that interesting. And now the best part of the episode being the war between old Vokai and old Lyra. The editing team really deserves some props, as this easy, predictable vote of an old Vokai member going home turned into a nervous tribal council of, is it Elaine or is it Jason? Elaine's delivery was also very well executed. I am, however, very upset with the old Vokai tribe, as they were the literal definition of sore losers. Pouting and crying does not make you look like a survivor or someone who should be on the show. Lauren. Aaron played the other tribe very well too, and was, in my opinion, the best part of the tribal council. That's an interesting perspective on it. I was sad to see Jason going home, though it was the best decision in all honesty. Thanks again for another great episode of the podcast, and thank you, Hayden. Good job on your feedback. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, everybody. This is Kim from North Carolina, by myself this week. A quick thought about Karishma that I forgot to share last week in time. I sometimes see students whose parents were raised in another country, but the kid is raised in the U.S., and so there are cultural differences that are difficult for both the parents and the kids. Sometimes I think the kids go along with what their parents want and follow the traditions, but they really don't want to do it. And Karishma seems like perhaps that's the case with her. And it seems to me that even though she's a lawyer, it's a shame that she feels like she's not enough. So I guess it's important for parents to remember to talk to their kids about all the things that they're doing that are great and wonderful, and help them avoid the same mistakes we made, but not beat the negative stuff into the ground. So, onto the show. I did not like that Dean ran to Jamal, even though I guess it is smart for him to align with Jamal, since Jamal seems to have power and Dean is definitely in danger. I did find it interesting that Nora is Jamal's #1 target, because she's a goat. Even if she's annoying, it seems like there are other people, even if they're Vokai, that might be better to get out. So I timed the Island of the Idols this week, 5 minutes, but I liked it because I like seeing Elaine. I was wondering if that block of vote could be used at a later tribal council, but I guess it doesn't matter now. When the people got up, Tommy and that other person got up to talk during tribal. Dan. This is why I need Cameron, because I forget people's names. I thought, why isn't Elaine talking to anyone? I read an interview of Jason at EW.com, and he tells a really different story of the tribal council and what the plan was walking into tribal council. I'll send Stacy the link to it, and maybe he can put it in the show notes if he hasn't done it already, which he probably has. No matter to me, I'm happy that a pagonging did not happen. I have really enjoyed this season because of the way we're being shown the tribal councils and not really being sure what's happening and the people really playing the game, even though who knows what's really happening. So last thing I have to say, and I'm sure it's hard not to do this, but could the people who haven't been at risk hardly at all during the 15 days quit being so dramatic when all of a sudden they have to go to tribal council and things don't go their way? 1-800-WAH. Yay, Elaine survives. Can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
I like that. 1-800-WAH. Good job. Thanks, Kim. Next up, we got a call from Crystal.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Crystal from Pasadena. Wow, this is by far my favorite episode of this season so far. I totally agree with Jeff that this is one of the reasons why I love Survivor, is because of episodes like this. There was so much to unpack from beginning to end. Towards the beginning, having that situation between Jamal and Jack, I love the way that Jamal handled himself and handled the situation. I was really glad that they included it in the episode, at least as a teaching moment, and I was glad that Jamal really took that opportunity to help Jack grow and learn from his mistake rather than use it as a way or reason to target him. I thought that that was really commendable of Jamal, and I felt like he handled it really well. And you never know who needs to see that kind of moment and learn from it. So I thought that it was really great, and I'm glad that they showed that in the episode. And Island of the Idols, Elaine is hilarious. I absolutely love her. On a personal note, I too lost my mom, so I can only imagine the strength it took for her to go on Survivor only 3 months after her mom passed away. And I thought that it was great that she's finding a deeper reason for being on Survivor aside from the money, and it really made me root for her even more. I mean, every episode I feel like I'm saying I have a new favorite player because there are so many great players in the game. I love Elaine, love Elizabeth, love Jamal, and I feel like that's the great thing about this season so far is that there are so many great players, and it's really making it fun to watch. Moving forward to Tribal Council, I loved the blind side. I loved seeing the looks on Jason, Lauren, Tommy, and I'm forgetting the other person's name. I loved seeing, and Dan, loved seeing the looks on their faces and seeing how shocked they were. I was so glad that Aaron didn't turn on Elaine. I felt that it was a great move, and it'll at least give them majority in their tribe for now, and hopefully help them switch the numbers around in the game overall. Loved it. Like I said, beginning to end, loved it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. That's all I have for now. I hope everyone had a great Halloween and weekend. Thanks for all you do. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Crystal. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, I enjoyed this episode. Elaine's time on the Island of Egos was a hoot. The reward challenge was close-ish, and the immunity challenge was a real nail-biter. I also enjoyed seeing the Vokai 4 get toppled off their high horse of arrogance by Elaine's advantage play. Here's this week's observations. Detective Dean has figured out Nora is crazy. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Elaine was ready to rock the vote. Missy, Aaron, and Liz were ready to rock her game. Aaron and Jack lacked that Cleopatra vibe when riding on their platforms. They did, didn't they? Rob's next venture, building luxury bamboo timeshares in Fiji for diehard fans. A slow-talking Rob plus fast-draining sand isn't a formula for inspiring patience. Next week's Island of Idols lesson, if you don't know jack about a word's origin, shut your mouth. I guess I'm ignorant when I think of that term for a headpiece. My mind's eye turns to pirates, pro wrestlers, and bikers. Jamal will remember Jack's apology when he votes him out. I was stoked to see the first meeting of the Island of the Idols Alumni Club. Elaine was so nervous during the immunity challenge that she pooped an advantage. It did sort of poop back out, didn't it? The immunity challenge cage carry reminded me of the old World's Strongest Man car carry event where they had to lift a car shell from inside and walk for distance in it. At long last, Orange was not crushed in an immunity challenge. I see what you did there. For some reason, every time they said block a vote, I thought of whack-a-mole. Given their reactions during the butchering, Jason and Tommy will never work for Purdue Farms. Handsy Dan is branched out. He now gropes bags to mark his territory too. Rob and Sandra are both pulling for Elaine, part of her winner's cut. Suck it up, Buttercup was funny, but Sandra had better watch herself or she'll give away her hiding spot at Tribal. Last week on a different podcast, Stephen Fishbach ranted at length about just how useless a block a vote would be. I think Elaine and Jason would disagree. According to Jason's exit interview, Aaron was the original target of the Vokai 4, but the Whispers moved the target to Elaine in case Aaron was voting with them. Jason is a hypocrite. He was going to vote out Aaron and failed, but it's Aaron who can't be trusted? Sheesh. Next time, the editors show us random, out-of-context snippets. Are any of them relevant? Only time will tell. It did seem to be a bit of the hodgepodge this week. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Nailed it as always. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah here. Joanne, of course, we miss you, but hopefully you're having a great time back home, and we can't wait to hear your voice when you do get back. Stacy, what a great episode. I feel like that seems to be a common feeling from most fans that I see, which is kind of surprising, considering they had both reward and immunity challenges, and we went back to the Island of Idols, but the pacing was just really well done for this episode. So kudos to the editors. Speaking of the editors, they've really done an interesting job this season. I know that Jeff's been talking about that, how they're changing the way they're structuring the narrative. I'm liking it. They're keeping me guessing all the time. Looking at again, this week we had another blind side for us audience. I know none of us had Jason on the radar as far as being someone who could have been targeted from that group. Now, like yourself, Stacy, I wisely chose them to go to tribal council, and I had Elaine going as well. There was so much going on with discussion about her being involved in the episode that I thought maybe it would be her. Obviously, she was a target, but then we had, of course, Aaron making the decision to stick with the old Laurel tribe to keep control of their numbers. Hopefully for them that works out well. Personally, I've been kind of iffy about Aaron, but this decision, I think, in the end was probably correct. I feel like he has a better chance of beating that group in the end, so maybe trying to ride that train out will work better. But we will see. But he's just playing too hard and aggressive for me. And just though his way he goes about things and his attitude doesn't quite rub me the right way, but I'm sure it's just the way it's coming across on television. He's just playing hard, but he's playing too hard too fast. I still think that, he'll probably won't win, but we'll see. He's definitely someone to keep a close eye on for sure. I thought it was kind of interesting in an episode where we had a lot of discussion about racially driven conversations and stereotypes that we had Lauren and some of the other people basically implying that Elaine, because the way she talks and looks and acts, wasn't smart enough to pull off any kind of big blindside on them, which apparently, of course, she proved them wrong. I just thought that was really interesting and funny that all happened in one episode. But speaking of the racial conversations that happened between Jack and Jamal, I thought it was wonderful. Just like you mentioned, Jamal handled himself very well. And I think part of it had to do, Stacy, with the fact that Jamal, he's a very smart guy, obviously. And I think he looks at, Jack as probably being someone who's very immature and stupid and kind of let that go for that reason. But also, of course, Jamal knows that he's playing a game and he needs to keep friends as much as possible. But I understand your feelings of how it would be hard to trust him. And maybe Jamal shouldn't trust him. I don't know. But I just love to watching Jamal, the way he handled himself, and of course his stock's gone up so much, Stacy. I don't know if I should keep him as my USB. Oh boy, lots of decisions. That's it for me, and until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
All right, Jeremiah, how can you not keep him? He's got the richest edit of anyone at this point. Very compelling, and it's shown as complex and having these positive and negative traits. I could see why you'd want to hang on to him. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Marin County, California. Well, that was a great episode and a super nail-biter, and I just have to give you guys a little background. So here in Northern California, they did a planned safety power outage for the entire week, and along with getting ice and food and flashlights, I made sure to go online and make my survivor picks, and I'm really glad I did because our power did not go back on. It was out from Saturday to Wednesday night, and wow. I was, okay, got to get ready for a blackout, got to make my survivor picks. And then I screenshot what I picked so I could go back and review, but I had no internet, no phone, no nothing.
Goodness.
I was able to watch this episode on my phone at work, and oh my God, it was so great. It just was one of those episodes where everybody became really human. I loved Jamal and Jack. Their story was so beautiful. Their connection went so far beyond the game, and it was really great to see that side of them. I liked Jamal for the first time, seeing him as kind of a righteous, intelligent, amazing man, instead of just being like, oh, he's got an attitude on Survivor. Seeing him as a human was great. Seeing Elaine talk about her mom, that was just heart-tugging and beautiful. So exciting that she got the advantage. So exciting that Rokai lost, and it went into this nail-biter tribal council where what's going to happen? Is Aaron going to flip? I was kind of annoyed with him. I'm like, don't flip on your team. It will be so beautiful if you guys pull this off. And right down to the nitty-gritty end, you didn't know which way he was going to go,
right?
Which definitely made for more excitement in Survival Tribal Council, which I greatly enjoyed. So I like to watch at work. and because I can't wait till I get home. And I was kind of watching out of the side of my eye while I finished up work, and then I was actually had my phone on in my car during the end of Tribal Council, so I'm driving home, watching the road, not watching my phone, going, don't vote Elaine, don't vote Elaine, please no, please no, please no, please no. And then it was Jason, which made me so happy, because I just fell in love with Elaine this episode. So looking forward to see what happens next. Thank you for all that you do. I'm really enjoying this season and holding my own in the challenge. Woohoo! All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for sharing all that. Good job, Rebecca. Next up, we got a call from BrandonA.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey and Survivor fans. This is Brandon from Cleveland. Just calling to give some of my feedback, my thoughts about this episode, and just where I've kind of been as far as being absent from the podcast, so to speak. But this is the first podcast that, or is part of my Survivor fandom, I should say, that I've actually, had a significant other. So, and just there's also been a lot of life stuff going on, some good, some bad. That's why I haven't been able to keep up every week with the podcast and send in feedback each week. But I'm definitely going to try to keep up more going forward. I've been able to keep up with the recaps, but not as many as the feedback shows, which you guys said they've been awesome. So I definitely like to get back, making sure I'm keeping up with those, so to speak. And hopefully I don't forget to put my picks in again this week. It didn't really bite me in the butt this week, but going forward, definitely want to stay on top of that. That's only happened a handful of times, and I've been playing since Survivor Nicaragua, so I don't want that to become a habit. I thought it was a fantastic episode. It was great as far as the strategy and as far as like the Jamal and Jack situation. Not that the situation happened, but just how it was handled, and I just really enjoyed it. The one thing I will say about the Jason vote out, Jason mentioned on Raul's podcast that group was originally targeting Aaron, and that kind of surprised me a little bit considering the way he went at Aaron on the way out. To me, it kind of seems a little bit hypocritical if you guys were willing to discard him so easily. They only switched it to Elaine when she pulled out the vote block. So it's like, if you're going to target him, how are you going to be so mad that they got one over on you, kind of come off bitter in that way? So, but I still enjoy that group. I enjoy this cast in general. They're a lot of fun. I don't even know who I'm rooting for yet. I guess Aaron by default because he's my USB, but there may be other people I like more. But I just like the cast in general. And then just to touch quickly on the Jamal and Jack thing, again, I love how Jamal handled it. And as a black man myself, I feel like I kind of would like to, I'm not nearly as articulate as Jamal, but I feel like I would want to be on that side of forgiveness and conversation too, just because I feel like the whole reason we even have those complaints or have those issues with society is because we want things to change, and things can't change if we stay so opposed to each other. And in that situation, you could be very tempted to stay opposed to Jack and not try to move the situation forward in any way. So and I don't think there can be like this eternal clash of ideals. If we want progress to move ahead, we got to find some common ground somewhere in order to be able to move ahead. So that's just my opinion, obviously. And it was a fantastic episode, and I just enjoyed the season in general. And I'm glad that I was able to call you guys back for once and give some feedback. So you guys take care. Talk to you hopefully soon. All right. Goodbye.
All right. So glad you could rejoin the podcast there, Brandon, and I'll take what you said to heart. Certainly, I would have a lot of problems trusting Jack after that, like I mentioned in the recap, but you made some excellent points there, and you, sir, are articulate. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. Let's start by getting the do-rag social commentary out of the way. Honestly, I like Jamal far better now because of how calmly he handled the situation. From his past actions, I'd have expected him to fly off the handle, but no, he actually handled this beautifully. I wish he could calmly react like that in other portions of the game because it would definitely serve him better. Enough said. Now, Aaron. Now, here's a guy who's having a real tough time figuring out where he wants to be positioned in this game. Yes, he made his promise to vote with the old Vokai before knowing that he didn't have to. But his indecision and Missy's lack of understanding? Show me that I shouldn't have much hope for either of them lasting very long past the merge. I understand that the numbers are against Aaron or old Lyro, but at this point, when everyone knows there are options, switching teams just makes everyone view you as a turncoat that can't be trusted. At least that's how I see it. But he did stay true to his original tribe, so I guess you could say he came around to seeing things my way. But he was so gung-ho to rock the boat when it didn't need rocking that, I just have to write him off. Now let's talk about Elaine. First off, when she was talking to Rob and Sandra, I thought time was of the essence, and when Rob said that sometimes you have to make decisions with little to no information, I had no problem with Elaine pulling the trigger early and saying yes. I think she felt that there wouldn't be any more information headed her way, and like she said, she was there to play. In other words, I would have done the same thing. I think the wording that Rob used could have been better, but it was probably just myself and Elaine that misunderstood the whole scenario. But you know what? It worked out in the end. But I do think it's very interesting to see that Jeff doesn't understand why people don't want to go to the Island of Idols, which should probably just be called Island of the Get a Free Target on Your Back. And yeah, now that I think about it, just the name itself, Island of the Idols, has made all the players fear it for its obvious disadvantages. Honestly, they should have named it something less threatening, because as it stands, it sounds like it's a year-end clearance sale on idols, and that they're free for the taking. Everything must go. Win one, get one free. And I still hope to see a day when someone is caught trying to retrieve an idol during a challenge.
Yeah.
That poor little busted can of biscuits popped her idol in front of everyone, and no one noticed at all. Anyway, next to go, I still believe that all eyes are on Dean at this point. If he makes it to the merge, I'll be surprised. His sad puppy dog eyes actually work against him because he just looks lost rather than cute. Someone needs to put him out of his misery. So that's it for me. Take care, everyone. Oh, and great job, Stacy, on going it solo. I don't know how you stay on track and focused. This feedback here started as 10 minutes of rambling that I managed to whittle down to about 3 minutes, but I still couldn't get rid of the rambling. Thank you, sir. You are amazing. Bye.
I don't know about that. I think that's just probably notes and experience from doing that all these years. But thank you. I'll take that compliment. Yeah, Aaron definitely had target fixation. It seemed like he never got over scoping out Elaine as the person to go from early on in the game, and he was still locked on it, along with his just complete unwillingness to draw rocks, not wanting to put anything to chance, and having tasted a little bit of the victory, he just fell right back into that early pattern. I'm sure it was comfortable and something that he had already had some experience talking about and trying to sell others on. I can certainly see how that went. So I want to circle back to the Jack comment and give my perspective on what it was for those people who mentioned during the listener feedback show here today that they didn't understand the significance of what was going on. So this is just my interpretation that's of a white male, obviously, but instead of calling it a buff, what everyone else had was a buff, he gave Jamal's buff a different name. And that alone, by itself, is saying, hey, there's something different about you. And in the context of an extremely social game, singling someone out always has to be a warning, even if it's a joke. That connotation of there's something different about you. Now, the word that he chose to use there has racial overtones. So that puts you on a spectrum of, say, ignorance to something potentially really insidious in terms of it being a racist remark and potentially going somewhere else. We didn't see it go that way. Now, I had mentioned that in a previous season, for some reason I thought it was like 2 or more back, but actually it was just last season that there were some really bad exchanges and some things that didn't get aired that were shared. And I'm going to include a link in the show notes to that. And that's a blog post that Julia made where she talked about what she had to deal with in her season and how that all played out, and then how none of it got aired. And it's like way worse than this. It's worth a read, and to take a little bit of time to think about what it would be like to feel this in the context of a game where you're trying to win $1 million in a social game where you've got to get other people to vote to give you that money, how much are you willing to deal with? How much are you willing to take and accept? And it's an interesting contrast. It's similar, but like I said, it's what Julia went through is much worse. And Jamal wouldn't have known about that because of the timing here. I don't think he wouldn't have been able to read that before, because she published that afterwards. Yeah, so he wouldn't have had that reference. There's been other things that were certainly really bad in a racist tone that have happened on the show before too. Some other people that have done really bad things. This doesn't really fall on the super evil spectrum, I don't think, the way it all got resolved and managed. It's more towards ignorance, but taking something that singles you out in the context of the game and then adding something that's specific to race by your choice of that word is really, those two things together for me is what signaled, hey, there's something potentially really wrong going on here. And the way we got to see Jamal address it and how Jack responded and how they worked through it, all that, like everyone's been saying, it was really great. I would still have this, just personally, this is just me, right? I would have that little concern that it would be hard to let go of with Jack. What made you choose to say that? What is it in your background, or what is it in you that made you think that was okay, even if it came from ignorance? And he tried to play it off as a joke, but I didn't believe him when we saw that little clip of him saying that. He didn't seem believable to me at all. So yeah, there's potentially something really insidious, and given how charged the atmosphere is right now with all the things going on in that regard in our country, right? Yeah, there's reason to be concerned. I can totally understand why Jamal reacted to that, and I hope that helps convey some understanding. Some people may choose to still think of that as an overreaction, but given how things are right now in our culture and the time when they were out there a few months back ago, and nothing's really changed in that regard, and how some of those unfortunate, horrible themes have risen back up again, and having to address that more. For me, I totally understand how Jamal was able to arrive at that conclusion and feel that there was a need to address it. And it'll be interesting to see if it has an impact going forward. Hopefully that helps explain some of it, and how in context, it's really all about the context. You could see someone could use that word and it wouldn't mean anything. It would just be something that you put over your hair to keep your hair in place, or maybe even as a fashion accessory, it potentially plays out that way. But it's the context of how and when it was used, and then it signaled something's different, and that potentially could be signaling as that something different is less, or to be thought of as less. Yeah, there's reason for cause and concern there. Okay, I want to bring it back around. You guys did a fantastic job. I want to thank everybody who took time out to share. This was another great one. Just like, I think we got Brandon's interest. We just got to, hopefully he can find some time to check out how wonderful the listener feedback shows are, and hopefully he'll get a chance to listen to this one too. It's great to have you back, Brandon. And I want to say special thank you to everybody who took the time to gather your thoughts and include your predictions and your analysis, and share things from your own personal walk of life. That always makes it special and helps us be able to see things in different ways. And we've got a great diverse community here, and so I really appreciate being able to pull this together and share it with everyone. I want to say a thank you to Wiley M for helping get the word out about our great community here with an iTunes review. Thank you so much for that. Also, a big thanks to Hazel and Christy for your continued financial support, your donations here in the podcast that go towards our operational cost. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for that. If you play JSFL, don't forget to get those picks in, Brandon. Although I'm fine if Brandon misses his picks occasionally. He did such an awesome job with his Like a Wrecking Ball song, so I wouldn't be sad if he ended up losing the side challenge and we had to hear him sing again. That would actually be a good thing. Okay, but for everyone else, don't forget to get those picks in. The deadline's 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Wednesdays. Good luck, everyone. Thanks again for a great episode here. Great podcast. Have a good one.